Hello and welcome to Postcards from a Soul and Her Human. I'm the human, Sophia. Welcome everyone who's joining me. I appreciate you as always. This is a really interesting setup today because I've had a lot of issues getting set up. My camera wasn't working. I wasn't able to get the countdown at the beginning of the recording, which is usually there. And it's difficult not to see these delays as possibly divinely inspired or divinely enacted, because I'm going to talk about something today that might be a little bit controversial. So there may be some hesitation from the other realm for me to speak about this, but what I've learned about this entire experience is that this is my journey, this is my story, and I was given this outlet, this microphone, and now camera to tell it. And what I've grown to trust is that if I feel inspired or driven to do something, that's what I'm going to do. It is part of my part of the mechanism of my intuition and my open heart. It allows me to embrace the way I feel and what actions I may take because of that, no matter how conventional or unconventional it might be. And this is, I think, one of the differences between living in the 3D matrix and living in what is referred to as the 5D or fifth dimension. And it's all a state of mind, really. It's there's so much to that. But even though sometimes I feel hesitant to do something or to talk about something, that restriction is only coming from me. And if I truly feel inspired and motivated, then I'm meant to talk about it. So whether this is going to be a popular subject matter for others or not is yet to be seen. My hesitation about this, I'll be honest with you, was initially because I don't want to potentially influence the future. I don't want to influence what may happen with what I'm speaking about now. And the reason why I have that even idea is because I am getting ready to shift into a future timeline. I'm getting ready to move into a different life, a whole entirely different experience. And I've talked about this pretty much at length here, especially in the last several episodes, and how I'm being prepared to do so, and how I've been driven, quite literally, to get my house ready for potentially selling quickly. And I don't know if when the call comes for me to go, I'll need to leave on a dime, or if I'll have time to get my affairs in order. So what I'm driven to do by this feeling in my body and in my heart is to get everything ready just in case. So because of that, I have purged my house about 90%, except for what I need to live and what I want to stage the house. I have help getting repairs done, and I also have set up a plan for if I am not here, if I have to leave before the house even goes on the market. So everything is in place, and this has all been inspired by this feeling that this new timeline is imminent and that it's coming to get me. And I don't know what that means in linear time. It really has no meaning. The divine timing is all that matters, and what I understand about the divine timing and why it's so important not to try to rush it, which of course I wouldn't do, is everything happens in cycles and cycles of energy. So the celestial events that affect our bodies, the lunar cycles, the ebbing flowing of the ocean, it all has a purpose. It's a rhythm that's keeping the universe breathing. And without these cycles, these big changes, these quantum changes couldn't take place. So what has to take place in the other realms and celestially or cosmically is an alignment with these energies in order to produce this manifested physical outcome. So if you imagine that we are several bodies, which we are, and we have so many layers, we are such multidimensional beings, that there's not just the human body and then our spiritual self. There are 6 bodies in between that. So when you think about something that's being orchestrated from the other realm or the ethereal realm, by our spirit guides, for example. It has to go through these layers of reality, or these layers of matter and wave, in order to get to the physical, most solid, even though nothing's solid, manifested form. So it's like pushing a dime through the water and hoping it goes down the drain and travels 700 miles and it comes out in a pond that you're waiting for it on the other end. It is a lot of orchestration that's needed to guide that dime to where it needs to go, and through a lot of different textures, which I guess is the best way I can put it, the textures of the universe, or multidimensional textures, which I don't have any idea what I'm saying. But the idea is that it's not just flip a switch and it happens in the physical. There's a lot of orchestration and there's a lot of alignment that needs to happen energetically in order to manifest a physical result. So this movement to get me from where I am in the United States, in the Midwest, to where I believe I'm going in New Zealand is not just a decision that's made and then it happens. There are a lot of people involved. There are a lot of variables involved. And it's not just a wish or a desire that's granted in the moment. It has to go through these cycles. It has to have energetic alignments. It has to have agreement from other souls in order to aid in the orchestration. There's so much going on that we don't understand when things change, major things changes, especially in our life. So I know that I'm being prepared to move into this other quantum reality, this other dimensional reality, which is described as a different lifetime for me. So I am, if I exist in the 5D emotionally and spiritually, I'm going to be moved now to a location that is more aligned with my energetic frequency. And something I understand about New Zealand through doing a little bit of inspired research is that it sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire. And the Pacific Ring of Fire is an extraordinary natural underwater mountain range of volcanoes. And it creates a vibrational frequency that is very unique. So the areas that sit on top of those incredibly organically high vibrating locations are higher vibrating as well. And because I'm now vibrating higher, the location or the environment that I'm currently in no longer supports what the refinement that's needed in my energy in order for me to expand. So once I move to this new location, I will be in an energetically aligned environment, which will allow me as a human and as a spirit or a soul to expand to my full size. So then reach my full potential, mind, body, and spirit. And I know this sounds really out there. And of course, to those who are not as familiar as I've become with all of this energetic reality, it sounds very strange, but everything is energy. There's nothing that is solid at all. Molecules have space between them, or atoms do. There's no solid reality. It's all manipulated by energy, and form is manipulated by energy, and that's a whole other story. But in order for me to be moved to New Zealand, there has to be a cyclical alignment energetically, cosmically. And I believe that is imminent. Although in linear time, the reason I started this whole thought trail is it doesn't matter. It could be a week, a month, a year. I have no idea. All I know is this energy is very prominent in my body. It has driven me to actively take care of this house in every way I possibly can to get it ready in case I need to sell it quickly. So while all that is happening, I have been informed about something through a reading that I was, I guess, not surprised, but it really connected a lot of dots for me that I had not really looked at from a broad angle before. I don't know how long you've been with me here, but if you're familiar with my earlier episodes, I talk a lot about the early tarot readings where I was shaken out of my sleep or the coma that I was in the 3D matrix, where my beliefs and my mind and my ego were my driving forces. And I was stuck in a karmic relationship that had lasted nearly 24 years, and I had been broken completely broken down, where I had an energetic breakdown and ended up in the hospital. After that event, I went into my awakening. You know the story if you listen to my episodes. And during this time, which is nearly 4 years now, it's April 6th as I'm recording today. June 25th is what I regard as the anniversary, the first day of my awakening, and that's the day my ex-husband moved out of my house, the day I was in the hospital. And during that time, I have been transformed in every way, at a cellular level. And I've discussed this at length in earlier episodes, so I won't revisit all of it. But for the last nearly 4 years, I've been prepared to move into this new timeline because I'm here on a mission. I have a job to do, a purpose, as we all do. And mine has been made very clear to me through tarot readings, through other serendipitous, symbolic messages that I received, events, all that's transpiring in my life now, the knowledge that I am at the end of this transformative phase, that it is completed now, and I'm getting ready to move into this new epoch. Throughout the early tarot, what I learned about myself in this new epoch, in this new timeline that I'm moving into, was very clear. The primary element of this new life was a union with my twin flame. And I've talked about John before. He is a gentleman from New Zealand. And I don't think it's any mistake that New Zealand is where my soul wants to go, because my twin flame incarnated as a New Zealander. So that makes that a really convenient transition for him, if he's not already living there, which I don't believe he is. And this connection was described as a fairy tale. We were going to meet each other as healed, awakened individuals, and we were going to move to New Zealand together. And we were on a vacation where likely I was seeing New Zealand for the first time, where he would take me there. My first visit to New Zealand, we would, maybe on the first visit or second, I'm not sure, but we would put an offer in on a house, not expecting to get it because the offer would be way too low. We didn't think we'd get it, but we would end up getting the house. And this is the house we were meant to live in. And I even had the address, which was 1887, which is 888. My current address, which I won't say out loud, but it equates to 777. And 7 is my life path. So anyway, I don't want to digress too far. So this was described to me as a fairy tale ending for the life of trauma and the lifetimes of trauma that I have endured in order to evolve to this state of being, where I have a clear and open heart, where I have a third eye perspective of my life and the cosmos, where I understand all of that I've gone through and the purpose of it to get me where I am. I needed to transmute trauma, karmic trauma, which is the reason why I attracted a karmic soulmate, who was my ex-husband, and so much more, which is all captured in earlier episodes. But this has always been described to me as a fairy tale, where we are going to live the rest of our lives in this high vibrating connection, reciprocated love, respect, adoring each other. And in this union, in this partnership, we would create in the world. We would be given gifts or visions and to bring to life in the physical reality. And one of these visions would be to help Earth's resources. And I was told that him and I, in a former lifetime, had done this already before. So we have lived many lifetimes together, many apart. That is the twin flame journey. But in this lifetime, we were meant to have this fairy tale ending as a reward for all that we have endured as humans. And it was very exciting and beautiful and wonderful. And there's so much more on that was described in this new epoch for the two of us. But the main theme is we were together. When the new readings started, these are the modern readings. I refer to them as modern because there was about a 1.5 year break from the early tarot readings, where I told my spirit guides, I said, listen, I understand what's coming. I understand that I need to go through this transformation. I have all the support that I need. You guys are always here with me. I don't need the tarot readings anymore. I felt like it was important for me to say that I'm good. I can do this on my own. And of course, this was a very important time, and it signaled the universe that I was ready to trust what was meant for me. I was ready to have faith and let go of the need for the hand holding, the everyday hand holding. So as soon as I exclaimed that I was ready to let go of the tarot readings, which was about 2 years ago now, 2.5 even, they stopped. The tarot readings stopped. And I went on for about 1.5 years without any readings, even though I would still go into my video channel and I would still watch comedy videos, which I enjoyed doing while I ate my lunch, which is when I started to see the video tarot readings, which I ended up utilizing, which were a primary way of communication for my spirit guides for me. I still used the video channel, but I didn't see the readings anymore until about 1.5 years later, which was September of 2024, when they started up again. And I was very timid about looking at these, and I said that even in an earlier episode, because I said, I don't need them anymore. Wasn't looking for them. I was surprised to see it there, but I was very drawn to it, and I ended up opening a reading, which was very clear in telling me that this was new guidance for this next epoch. So I got comfortable looking at the tarot again, and before long, it just became a daily thing again. And I regard it as modern guidance for this new epoch. The difference, though, between the old tarot messages and the new modern messages, which I really didn't connect the dots, was it was no longer talking about a union with my twin flame and us moving to this island in the middle of nowhere and having this fairy tale life. Now the readings were about, and I've talked about this at length, about how this union with my twin flame was not going to be aligned, meaning I was going to be in a different dimensional reality than him when we met. And I talked about this at length, and I wrote quite a bit about this in the book that I'm writing, is that he will be in the 3D matrix when I meet him. And that was never the plan. We were always supposed to be vibrating similarly. And as twins, we vibrate at a very similar or the same frequency. But as humans, he is still in the 3D matrix. This is a place I no longer exist. I am in what's referred to or regarded as the 5D, the fifth dimension. And again, the fifth dimension is a spirit, mind, body thing. It's not it will be a location for me, but for most of it, it's just a state of mind. And the way I heard this described, which was so beautiful and simple, is that the 3D is you're living your life from your mind and your ego, your fears and your insecurities, which are perpetuated by your mind and your ego, based on your conditioning, which is your experiences, or your trauma, or your karma, all the things that are meant to drive you through this lifetime that you're meant to overcome. The difference between the 3D mind living through the mind, the 5D is living through the heart. So the gentleman described it, it's just the distances from here to here. That's all the distance you need to go to live in the 5D. And it's much simpler said than done. The difference is, instead of living through the mind and the ego and the fear-based reality that we create with our thoughts, we're able to transmute all that through our self-examination, through cultivating self-love, and then emptying the garbage or the emotional debris out of our body, which allows us to hear our heartfelt desires and our intuitive channel. And I wrote an article about this, and I've done a couple of episodes called The Emotional Baggage Handler. And it's about a mechanism in the body that expels negative energy out of the body. And it's an incredible process that I did not invent, but I discovered in myself as I was going through my awakening and the healing from my relationship and the life or the karma that I brought in. And it is a mechanism, a natural mechanism in the body, that if we don't medicate it or ignore it or push it down or plow through our lives and avoid how we feel, it is a natural occurring thing in the body if we give it the time and space. And what this does is it expels negative energy, negative imprints out of our body through our emotions. So anyway, these new messages were talking about how we are not going to be even in the same dimension, that I have cultivated through raising my vibration, an entirely different reality, referred to as 5D. I think that might be just a convenient label. I'm not really sure what it means altogether, except for what I explained. And he is still in the 3D. So from an energetic standpoint, we may as well be on different planets. And the reason why is because we are so out of alignment energetically. And if you think of magnets, and this is what the universe is, it's a magnet. You attract what you are. So if I am happy, joyful, and I believe in the magic of the universal process and my spirit guides, and I trust what's meant for me, and I let go of all the need to control, and this is all the things I've learned to do, then what is magnetically attracted to me are people and opportunities and locations that match that vibrancy or that frequency. So because my twin flame is on a different frequency altogether, literally in a different dimensional frequency, regarded as a 3D, which is where I lived for 58 years, we are so out of alignment energetically, there's no way we would naturally meet in real life at this point. So what has changed is, instead of him and I meeting after our healing or in the 5D, he's still in the 3D, I'm now in the 5D, and there's no chance of us naturally coming together. So what has to be done, and I've learned this recently through a reading the other day that really surprised me, it upset me, and then after a while I came to terms with it, which was actually quite incredible. And that's what I want to talk about. And it's so extraordinary that I have difficulty thinking about it. I have to just speak. So I'm just going to just speak. I can't really think too much about it. The reading basically said that because we are in two different worlds, and this is the way that the reader described it. She says, I'm getting an image of two spheres. And when she said two spheres, that means to me two worlds. And she said these two spheres are separated by frequency. One is over here, one is over here. And she said that the soul of my twin flame is calling to me. And the call is so powerful that it is drawing our two worlds together. So it's drawing the 3D and the 5D together, which again, from a cosmic perspective and an energetic perspective, is not possible. It's energetically against the laws of the universe. And basically it said that the draw between us is so powerful that our worlds will briefly touch, creating an access point for us to meet. And that this is breaking universal laws in order for us to do this. So we will come into union. And this is why, and this was such an extraordinary kind of come to Jesus moment for me, or a full circle moment. I realized when I look back at all the modern tarot readings that everything that regarded John and I, my twin flame, was about him and I being out of alignment, about how he is not going to be vibrating at the same frequency as I am. And it's not better or worse, it's just different. He is still what is described as trapped in the 3D matrix, trapped in his ego and his mind and his fears. And that the original plan for the two of us was that we would meet after the healing. But because John, my twin, was unable to awaken on his own with the help of our higher selves, he's still trapped there. So this is what's described as Plan B. And Plan B is that I will have to go back to the 3D matrix from my 5-dimensional reality and meet a man who is still trapped in the 3D. Now you have to understand something. Energetic reality is the only reality. That if two people are magnetically attracted and they're energetically aligned, it is a free-flowing, effortless connection. When that energy is out of alignment, that's when there's friction and frustration and anger. And beyond the karmic lessons we're supposed to learn, those two folks don't belong together. So I would have to close my heart down, which is the way this is described, in order to remain in a connection with someone who is vibrating that much lower than I am. This is the reason why I disconnected from my sister and from just about everyone in my life. No offense to anyone. We're all in different frequencies. But because my frequency has risen to the point that it has, and I'm being advised to protect it, when I am in a connection with someone who is vibrating so much lower, it draws down my vibration. So I am advised to keep moving and to let that connection go, which I have done. So I would not naturally be attracted to the man that he is right now. And I believe this is why I've been shown his picture and why I know his name. Because this happened about 2 years into the tarot where I was shown this person, this man. His partner contacted my daughter on a networking website to talk to her about her services in relation to what he does and if they could have a collaboration. My daughter talked to this gentleman for a little while who was so impressed with her. He said he wanted her to talk to his partner. And he normally didn't do that, but he wanted him to talk to her directly. So he set up a meeting between his partner and my daughter, and his partner was my twin flame, John. And the reason why my daughter knew this is because he had an accent and he told her he was from New Zealand. And at that point, I already knew that my twin flame was from New Zealand. So she immediately knew it was him. She showed me his picture, which I didn't look at for several months because I didn't want to mess up anything. But I know who he is exactly. I know his name. I know his face. And I always wondered, why are you showing me this person? Why can't I just serendipitously meet him if we're so magnetically right for each other? If we're so aligned energetically, why do I have to see his face? Why can't I just be surprised and go along with this? Well, of course, now I understand. Because we are so out of alignment energetically. And it was so unlikely that we would even meet. When I do meet him, I need to know his face so I don't reject him. And this is the extraordinary part, because this energetic frequency, reality, is all that matters. And when you get to a certain point where you have dumped the emotional debris, where your heart is open, where you trust that the universe has your best interest at heart, and I don't have to control anything, so much so that I wait to be inspired to do absolutely anything. My mind does not drive me anymore. My ego has nothing to say. My fears are gone. My insecurities are gone. I trust the universe explicitly. And because I do, I am in a state of stillness in my body that allows this open channel of intuition to be my only guide. And this intuitive channel, of course, is attached to my heart. And whatever excites my heart is what I'm going to do. This is what has motivated me to get the house ready. This knowing that I'm going somewhere very soon. This is what inspires me to record episodes, to write. Everything that I do, every connection I make, every choice is because of this heartfelt, intuitive guidance. That's the difference between living in the 5D from the heart and living in the 3D from the mind. That's the difference. That's as simply put as I can state it. So because I'm in this state of being, I would not naturally be in the presence or the energy of someone so far out of alignment for very long. So what might happen if we did have this meeting and I didn't know who he was, is we may meet serendipitously because it's orchestrated, breaking universal laws for it to happen. But as soon as he opened his mouth, no offense, and I can see him at a soul level, which is one of the gifts that I possess, there would be no connection. I would walk away. And this has been described to me very clearly, repeatedly. And I don't want to say repeatedly over and over because it's redundant, but repeatedly over and over. If I had to guess how many readings I've had since September started, the reading started in September, it's now April, I would say there's 100, all with the same subject matter. There are 4, 5, 6 of them every day, even today, even though I don't look at them anymore, that talk about this connection and how important it is for me to connect with him, even though I won't naturally be inclined to do so. That our connection is so deep at a soul level because we are twins, that when I'm in his physical proximity, when we meet, when he gets to know me and who I am in this higher vibrating reality, this different dimensional reality, it will trigger something within him. And it will trigger what is regarded as his awakening. I've always known that I was the spiritual twin. He is the material twin. That has been told to me since the very beginning. But what that has always been described as is that because we are yin and yang, basically humans, that he had a material experience and I had a spiritual karmic experience, that when we come together, we will be this fully formed, superhuman with all of these experiences to draw from and to teach each other and to help each other evolve and awaken dormancies and have this incredible, broadening, evolving experience together. That's all off the table now. All of it. And this is the realization that I came to, is that if I am to go back into the 3D matrix, and that's how this is described. Actually, the title of the reading is, You're Going Back into 3D Matrix to Rescue Someone. That's what caught my eye. And it's so out of the ordinary, that type of title. Of course, I looked at it and it explained this. And the tarot reader said at the beginning of the reading, and I believe it was in this one, she said, this may only be for one person. And you have to understand, these readings are viewed by thousands and thousands of people. I knew it was for me. I knew that him and I, as twin souls, were destined to meet in this lifetime. But the plans had to change because he was unable to awaken on his own. So we were both supposed to go into our awakening about the same time. That's how this was described to me. And by the time we both came out on the other side, which is now getting ready to go into this new epoch, we are to go into it together, hand in hand. That's not going to happen now. And this is the reason why the emergence of the Wealthy Man videos started to come. And this started back in November of last year, just 2 months after the video started again, the readings, is the emergence of the Wealthy Man. And this person is described as the one who is going to relocate me. And I've talked about this. I did an episode called The Wealthy Man because I was so inspired by what I was learning. And I did not connect the dots at that point that, well, why am I being moved by a wealthy man if John and I were supposed to go there together? Why am I being moved some other way? And of course, now this reading explained everything, that we're enacting Plan B. And this is why it is so incredibly important. It's crucial or critical for me to stay out of contact with him once we meet. And we go into what I already described before as our separation. This has been described to me over and over again. And this separation is going to be a natural separation. It's not going to be a fight, or it is going to be a natural reaction to the misalignment of our energy that will take place after we make this initial connection. And I don't know if it's going to be the day after, a week after, a month after, whatever it is. We're out of alignment energetically. So the connection's not going to last. And I will be, I believe that once we meet and go into separation is when I will be relocated to New Zealand. And this has been described to me as a crucial element or a crucial time in our connection, because the universe, or my spirit guides, are keeping me very, very busy when we're in the separation, because my magnetic attraction to him at a soul level will be so powerful. So what that means is I can't reach out to him. I can't have contact with him. I have to leave him alone. I cannot disrupt what he's meant to go through. And this is what I alluded to in earlier readings, but I didn't talk about. I felt like it wasn't my place to talk about it, but I feel this very powerful drive to talk about it now, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I understand that my behavior during our separation is a crucial element. And this is why I put it this way before. I'm part of the orchestration of his awakening, that I'm being employed by my higher self and my spirit guides to have an active role with very particular instructions to ensure that he gets to experience his awakening. So the Wealthy Man is a new element. This person is going to be inspired divinely to contact me and relocate me to New Zealand. And I still don't know how that's going to happen, but it's been described as it's going to feel like going through a wormhole. This is why I had to be trained and tested on receiving blessings, which I've discussed over and over in the last few episodes. That I have to learn to receive blessings that have no logical origin. I talked about how there's money in my account that I don't know where it came from. I talked about receiving a free year of cell phone service. I talked about a free oil change on my truck when there shouldn't be one. I've had the truck almost 6 years. There's so much that's happened, and there's so much more to help test me or train me, teach me to receive blessings without questioning their origin, because my natural inclination is to reciprocate. That is what my soul wants to do. That's what my body wants to do. But I had to train myself, and I was tested to make sure I can receive these blessings without question, because I will not know the origin. I will not be able to pay it back. And that was to prepare me for this plan B element to get me to New Zealand, because we're not going to go together. And now I understand that I'm going to go to New Zealand alone. I'm not going to have my twin with me, which I always thought was going to be the story. So now the wealthy man comes in. He is going to move me there. This is going to happen during the separation, I believe, because I have to meet him first. And where I am located physically in the world is where he is located. So this has to be before I move, I believe. I don't know anything for sure. And then I'll be moved to this new location during the separation phase. And I will also be flooded with opportunity to keep me busy, so I don't hyper focus on the way I feel at a soul level, how I want to console him, I want to reach out to him, I want to guide him, I want to be there for him. My natural inclination, especially for someone I am magnetically connected to, this is my twin. My karmic soulmate was my ex-husband. We had such a powerful connection, I had to be broken down energetically and sent to the hospital in order for that to break. How powerful is this magnetism going to be between me and my twin? And I've been warned, and I mean warned, that I have to absolutely leave him alone. So I'm going to be kept very busy by the spiritual realm and other soulmates who are coming in. And there's another soulmate that's coming in plan B, in the contingency plan. And this is a man. This is a masculine connection who is going to be romantic. And I think I described this before. This was never in the original tarot. There's never anyone else. But I'm going to have an opportunity for a romantic connection after this separation that is going to teach me what love looks like, what reciprocated love looks like. It's going to give me the training that I need to appreciate and to open for a love connection. It's going to be a soulmate, but it's not my twin. And I said out loud in the middle of all these changes, which of course I didn't connect the dots before this last reading, I said, well, what if I don't want to reconnect with my twin? Maybe he's not vibrating at my frequency. I have been charged with protecting this vibration in my body by not allowing connections that lower it, because there's so much more going on with this vibrancy in my body than just this romantic connection, just even my twin flame connection. So I have been advised over and over how to behave during this separation. I said, well, what if I don't want him back? What if he doesn't rise to my frequency and the connection doesn't feel right? And of course, the next reading said, you do what you want to do. This is not about us ending up together. What this story is primarily about, first of all, is me and the vibration in my body that I'm carrying into this new timeline. That vibration is a crucial element of my mission. There's a lot more on that I'm not going to go into now. The other primary element of this mission or this lifetime is for both of us to awaken. I'm awake. I give my ex-husband, my karmic soulmate, credit for that. He did an excellent job in kicking me over a cliff where I landed inside myself. And I had no choice but to look around and come to terms with it. That's the awakening. I have to be there for John. So I have to go back into the 3D matrix through this universal law-breaking connection that we're going to have and maintain that connection long enough. That's why I know what he looks like, so I don't reject him because our energy is so far off. I have to maintain this connection long enough for him to catalyze this or trigger this awakening in him, which only I can do because we are the same soul. This upset me at first. When I was finished the reading. It was late at night, which I normally don't look at readings on my phone, especially before I go to bed. I was drawn to look, and this is what I found. I was sad because the reading also included that although he may go through his awakening, we may still not ever be in alignment. This may still not work out for the two of us to end up together. So after I was finished with the reading and I closed it, I sat on my couch and I cried. I mean, I wasn't bawling, but I just dropped a few tears because I realized that we weren't going to have our fairy tale ending. And I was nostalgic for it because that's what I was expecting. But it didn't occur to me the tonal change of all of the readings in the modern era until this reading solidified it or connected all the dots for me. Basically said, you're not going to have your fairy tale ending. We need your help. You have to physically go back and get him. And that's what happened. That's what the reading and everything that's been happening in my life. I mean, look at what's happening. I'm getting my house ready for sale. I don't know John yet. In the early tarot, I was only doing this after we were in love and connected and moving together to New Zealand. Everything is different. This is the twist in the plot, in the story, is plan B. The contingency plan is now enacted. So I'm going back into the matrix to meet him and to catalyze his awakening. And I cannot hold on to any outcomes at all. We very well may not end up together. And that will be my choice. I will either stay in this new connection with this other soulmate because I'm in a reciprocal, loving partnership, or I will choose, if I get the opportunity, to go back into union with my twin. It's going to be up to me. And I'm to follow my intuitive guidance, my heartfelt desire when that time comes. That's the most important part. It is not whether we end up together or not. Me following my intuitive guidance and my open heart is what I'm meant to do. If that means that him and I end up together, then that's what I'll decide or will decide. If it doesn't, and I don't feel drawn back to that, then I'll stay where I am. And that will be the way it is. It's not about the outcome. It's about preserving this intuitive, heartfelt wisdom that now pours into my body on a daily basis, and the vibrational frequency that I currently possess or carry that supports that. So I cannot be in a connection that closes my heart, that requires me to collapse myself or conform or contort myself in any way as I did in my former relationships, because that lowers my vibration, which destroys the mission. It's not about what I do or who I meet or who I end up with. It's about preserving this frequency that I have cultivated over the last 4 years. This is the mission. I am the mission. It is not about who I end up with. It is about how I make choices based on this incredible guidance. So when I finished the reading, like I said, I was sad. I felt sad. I felt nostalgic for what I was going to miss out on. And I expected to feel this way for a while. I went to bed that evening. This was just a few nights ago. I went to bed that evening. I woke up in the morning and I expected to feel this sadness again, but it wasn't there. And I'm like, okay, I kind of just feel like I felt before, like nothing's really changed for me. And I was a little bit surprised. I'm not going to lie. I was very surprised. I thought I'd been mourning this for a little while, but I think the new tarot and all this instruction about how I am to conduct myself in this connection when it finally does happen, that I think I was just kind of geared for that anyway, even though I didn't understand the overall implications of it, of the changes. I didn't understand them at the time. This reading brought everything full circle for me. So when I woke up the next day, I felt fine. I thought, okay, well, maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll ebb and flow, whatever. A couple of days went by. I was still feeling elated about the relocation, the getting the house ready, elated about spending time with my girls, which is, I'm in this time that I meant to spend this concentrated block of time with them because I'm going to have to leave them. This is the couple of years where I'm needed somewhere. It's turned into a little longer than a couple of years because plans have changed. I believe that I was already supposed to be in union with him last October. Anyway, a hurricane washed that off the table. And of course, there's no mistake about anything that's happened. So a couple of days later, which was the day before yesterday, I'm sitting in my glider, which I'm sitting in right now. This is the glider. I had this famous glider that I sit at that rocks, that I look out that window, which is covered by a mirrored barn door or barn doors. I was sitting there drinking my tea, and I started to wonder something. A thought came into my body or mind that was a little bit disturbing to me. And I thought, you know what? I have time to sit here. Let's just explore it. And the thought was, do I even want a love connection in this lifetime? I have evolved so far past any need. Have I gone so far that I no longer even desire this connection? Why don't I feel more about this? Why aren't I more upset? Why aren't I sad because I may not end up with my twin flame? Why is that not in my body? And beyond that, why am I not even really thinking about it? I don't really think about him very much. I haven't for a long time. And for a very long time, and I described this in earlier episodes, before October, when I was supposed to go to Florida, when I thought I was going to meet him, I felt him so strongly that he could very well walk up to my door and knock on it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him there. That's how powerful our connection felt at that time. But I said out loud, I said, John, I don't feel you anymore. And I haven't for a while. Where are you? Where am I? And I thought maybe for a moment I had evolved past even the desire to have a love connection. So I sat there and examined that thought for a few minutes because it scared me initially. I'm like, oh, wow, do I prefer to be alone at this point? And not out of a embittered, justification that, oh, I don't need men anymore. That's not even on the table. I knew that wasn't part of this, but why am I feeling this disconnection? And I examined, I sat there, and in a few moments, I realized what was happening. I don't feel John anymore because of me, not because of him. I don't feel him anymore because I've risen so much in my vibrational frequency, especially over the last several months, that we are so far out of alignment. Again, we might as well be on two different worlds. And because that energy transference is not equal enough to take place in the physical realm, I don't feel him anymore. And this is what I surmised. This is the wisdom that came into my heart, that I don't feel him because he's not energetically accessible to me, or nor am I to him. And this is why we have to have this orchestrated union in order for us to come together now. It is not a magnetically attracted event as it once was. So I knew, no, I want to have an experience of romantic love. This is why I came here. I want to know what true love feels like. I've never gotten to experience that before. I want to, and I even said out loud, as a cosmic clinician of sorts, as an experiential transducer, it is kind of my job as a clinician to have the experience and then transduce that out to the world through my vibration and through my work, which is my podcast and my writing. So, of course, I want to have this love experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be with John. I want to have the experience, even if it's with this other soulmate who kindly agreed to come in the 11th hour and provide this connection for me, part of this contingency plan. So as I realized this, I started to get excited. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you excited about this? What about this is exciting? You're not going to have this fairy tale ending. And I started to realize that I had this whole other idea, and my body started to emerge, and it just got very exciting. And I even said out loud, why do I feel excited about the idea of going back into the 3D matrix when I spent so long getting the flip out of it? Trapped in my mind, in my ego, in my fears, which is where he's still trapped. And I said out loud, and you have to understand, this fairy tale has been described as me being the queen and him being the king. So I said out loud, I said, screw the fairy tale ending. I get to be the queen that goes to rescue her king who forgot he's a king. Even though that king may not remember that I'm his queen. And honestly, I was excited about it. I thought, this is what I'm built for. Maybe I'm not built for a fairy tale ending. And I don't believe in anything really being a mistake. I don't believe that plan B was necessary plan B. This was probably the way it was always meant to be. I really don't know. It's above my pay grade. But plan B has been enacted, and I am to go back into an energetic frequency that I would naturally repel at this point, physically repel at this point. I'm being moved to a new environment because where I live, I no longer am welcome by the energy. I am in a hostile energetic environment. That's why my life is shrunk down to a pinhead. So why does this excite me? Because, I think of the movie, I know this is going to be an old reference 10 years from now, but the movie Damsel with the beautiful young lady who did Stranger Things. I can't remember her name. She's got a 3-name name. Where she is betrothed to a prince who she has to marry, even though she doesn't know him, who ends up utilizing all of his betrothed princess as an offering to a dragon as redemption for his family killing this dragon's family centuries ago. So she is a human sacrifice to satisfy the blood lust or thirst of this dragon who lives in the vicinity, where he needs a human sacrifice every so often to not come and destroy their kingdom. The movie's called Damsel. And I think of that movie because she went there to meet her prince, and even she was very reluctant. They were going to get married, and then he dropped her into a cave and she was going to be eaten by this dragon. Well, she ends up being dropped into the cave. She saves herself. She ends up befriending the dragon, and they both take over the kingdom. It is the most remarkable story, and it resonated so powerfully with me because I've always kind of seen myself as the damsel in the movie, not a damsel in distress. I don't need to be rescued. And look, now I get to rescue my king. I get to go back onto the battlefield of the 3D matrix and rescue the love of my life. Even though after he has his awakening, he may not recognize me as his queen. And what I mean by that is if he doesn't rise high enough to meet my frequency, he won't understand who I am at a soul level. And his mind, his ego, his fear-based choices won't allow us to connect. So I may need to walk away from him for good at that point. And if that's what happens, that's what happens. And this is such an extraordinary story. I didn't have the heart not to tell it, although I really didn't know that I would. I really wanted to keep this to myself and write it in my book. Oh my gosh, the next day I wrote half the day. I put this as a whole other chapter in my book about this change in plan and the wealthy man now. And the wealthy man videos are continuing. I had 2 in a row 2 days ago, and I looked last night and there was another one. I didn't look at the reading. There's another one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9 of these videos that have practically the same title. A wealthy man is coming to relocate you, all from different content creators and all with different content that all say exactly the same thing. That a wealthy man or a man of status and power is going to offer you a relocation, which I believe to be New Zealand. That's where I've been told I'm going. And this is how I'm going to get there instead of John and I naturally, magnetically coming together. And because he is from New Zealand, and this is a place that I'm meant to be, we would naturally be drawn there together and buy the house on the ocean under the Milky Way, 1887. None of that's going to happen now. And I have to get to New Zealand because that's where I physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually need to reside in an environment that is not hostile to my vibrancy, that will allow me to expand as this energetic being in this human form. And I picture this as my wings being tucked under a suit of armor. And where I am, I have to stay in the suit of armor. And when I move to New Zealand, I can take off the suit and my wings can unfurl. And this is how I imagine myself there. It's been described that in this new location, I will come into my full potential. And it was described earlier in the early tarot that John and I our proximity to each other, our love, our magnetism would cause this potential to awaken in each other. Now it's being described as the environment. And of course, this other soulmate. The original readings describe John and I bringing into reality or to manifestation a vision from the cosmos to help the earth and humanity. That was what we were going to do together. This plan has changed so much that this is now being described as with my soul, with the soulmate that's coming in, and not with my twin flame. That's how much things have changed. So this plot twist has changed absolutely everything. And I wondered, and I was telling my daughter this, I was so sure we were going to come into union back in October when I went to this conference in Florida, that was where we were going to meet. I had a dream about it. All these things just connected this time to being then. And then this hurricane comes and cancels the event. It doesn't get rescheduled. It still hasn't been, it's not going to happen until this year, late this year. I'm no longer a part of it. I knew emotionally, energetically, I no longer needed to go. So I begged out. But I doubted myself. I'm like, well, why did I feel so strongly if it wasn't going to happen? And now I understand, because everything changed. That plan had to be scrapped in order for this new plan to be enacted, and for this new, all this orchestration to take place, which again takes a lot of energy from the other realm to push that dime through the water and the ocean and through all these pipes and into this outlet where it's supposed to come out. That's how I feel this orchestration, what's required. It is not an easy thing. Cycles of energy have to take place. Agreements between other souls, higher selves, have to take place. The higher self of the soulmate that's coming to take John's place, basically, to give me this love experience. He had to agree to this. All of this had to happen. It's divinely timed. So it's not late, it's not delayed. This is just the new plan. So I am to remain faithful, which I absolutely am. And the fact that I'm excited about this is really extraordinary to me and came at such a surprise. But it really speaks to who I am as a soul, who I've become as a human. The 3D matrix does not scare me. It is a labyrinth that I had to go through. It is a dark forest I had to navigate. It is a desert I had to cross. Yes, but now that I look back and I can see everything, I know exactly what I did. I know why I did it. I know how to get through it again. I will not get trapped in it again. I will go back briefly. I will make this connection, catalyze this incredible event, and then pull myself out. And then I will be quickly moved to New Zealand to eliminate any potential for me getting into any trouble. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but when I start thinking, it's time to end. So I just wanted to share this incredible twist with you. I will likely entitle this episode Back to the 3D Matrix, because this is such an extraordinary twist in the story. And what I was concerned about affecting in the future is if my twin sees this video in the future, how is it going to affect him? I really can't worry about that, I guess. So if you are watching this, John, my dear twin, just know that you are loved, brother. No matter what happens between us, you are eternally loved. We are connected eternally. And if it is not in this lifetime, it may be in the next, but it very well be back home when we're in our spiritual form again. So I love you, John, and thank you for this incredible experience. I love all of you for being here with me in this extraordinary time, taking this extraordinary journey with me. I am so excited about what's to come, and I will report to you what I can as I can, and I hope everyone has an amazing day, and I will see you again soon.